Yo, guys, it's popping off right now in South Korea, man. The president apparently declared martial law after winning the presidency against communism. And now he ended up rescinding martial law. And now it looks like there's an investigation into him. And he might be facing some serious charges or impeachment or something, man. This is crazy. Let's break it all down real quick, man, because whoa, what's going on here? Yoon declares martial law in South Korea at 4:30 a.m. President Yoon lifted the emergency martial law declaration in accordance with majority vote in the National Assembly. Okay, so he put it to a vote and then he lifted it. Okay, and then now apparently they're pissed and they're thinking of charges for the guy. So, okay, what's going on? The South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol declared an emergency martial law in an unannounced, nationally televised address at 10:30 p.m., citing the need to protect the country from North Korean communist forces and anti-state forces and to rebuild and protect South Korea from falling into ruin. Whoa. This is the first time martial law has been declared since 1980 when a military coup was carried out by Chun Do-hwan after the assassination of President Park Chung-hee in 1979. Whoa. What has occurred since President Yoon's martial law declaration? Since the news broke, police vehicles have barricaded the front gate of the National Assembly, while dozens of armed soldiers have entered the building. Martial law troops forcibly entered the National Assembly's main building by breaking a window. Martial law commander and Army Chief of Staff Park An-soo had earlier issued Martial Law Command Proclamation Number 1, declaring that all political activities, including the operations of the National Assembly, local assemblies, political parties, and political associations, gatherings, and protests are prohibited. Wow. Dude, despite this, as of 1 a.m., National Assembly passed a resolution demanding the lifting of martial law, with 190 present out of 300 voting in favor. Interesting. Wow. So that's already a majority off bat, even though you don't have everybody there. Oh my God. Wow. So they were holding a hearing to end martial law after they had said that the National Assembly and local assemblies are prohibited. Whoa, this was a serious situation, man. Oh my gosh. Under Article 77 of the South Korean Constitution, when the National Assembly, with the consent of a majority of its members, requests lifting of martial law, the president is required to comply. By 1:12, the soldiers near the third gate had withdrawn. Approximately 2,000 citizens gathered in front of the main gate, shouting, "Long live the Republic of Korea." What? Yo, what is going on in Korea, dude? Is this declaration in emergency martial law unprecedented? No, there have been 16 martial law declarations since the country was founded in 1948. Under Article 77 of the South Korean Constitution, a president may declare martial law in response to war incidents or other national emergencies. There are two types of martial law, emergency and security. By declaring an emergency martial law, President Yoon can now restrict the freedom of speech, publication, assembly, and association, and implement special changes to the authority of governments or courts and a warrant system in accordance with provisions of related laws. Wow. So, man, in Korea, you got rights unless there's an emergency, like in most countries, and like they like to pretend exists in this country, except we don't have emergency parameters that allow you to negate the rights of citizens. Some states actually have that written in, but in our federal government, no, you do not have that. And if the state laws have that, there's a challenge federally that you can do to say, hey, it's illegal for states to put that in their state constitution based on what we agreed to as the principles on a national level of what we represent as a country. But no, dude, most countries, and this is what Europe did all over Europe after the American Revolution, when the French Revolution and all this, they went ahead and they in their more civilized constitutions, they added this was their more civilized. This was their more civilized. This is what it allows them to do. You basically don't have a constitution, man. Come on now. Under Proclamation Number 1, martial law decree effective as of 11 p.m., the following measures have been implemented. All political activities, including operations of the National Assembly, local assemblies, political parties, political associations, gatherings, and protests are prohibited. Any act that denies or attempts to subvert the democratic system is prohibited. Like all those prohibitions you just made? What are you talking about? Including fake news, manipulation of public opinion, and false incitement. That I don't like that. That you could apply to literally anything you don't like. All media and publications are subject to the control of the martial law command. Acts of social disruption such as strikes, slowdowns, gatherings are prohibited. All medical personnel, including interns who are on strike or have left their medical posts, must return to their duties within 48 hours and serve diligently. 48 hours is a long time. You get to keep being on strike for 2 days while the rest of the country is in martial law, but you can keep like, that's insane. That's wild. Violators will be punished under the Martial Law Act. That's probably horrifying. Except for anti-state forces and those attempting to subvert the system, innocent citizens will be provided with measures to minimize disruptions to their daily lives. That doesn't mean anything. That's just rhetoric. Any violators of the proclamation can be arrested, detained, searched, seized without a warrant, and will be punished according to Article 14 of the Martial Law Act. What motivated Yoon to do this? The opposition Democrat Party has been raising alarms about this threat since September. Last week, the opposition-led National Assembly reduced the government's budget for the upcoming year and initiated proceedings to impeach the chief of state audit agency and the chief prosecutor. Ooh, wow. In his speech, President Yoon criticized the opposition, which holds parliamentary majority, for holding legislative dictatorship that has hindered his ability to effectively govern the country, citing 22 impeachment attempts since he took office in May of 2022. I mean, things like that can happen. And why did they? Let's see. They gutted. Last week, they reduced the government's budget for upcoming year and initiated proceedings to impeach the chief of state audit agency. So some of these moves can be a result of institutional capture, right? So first off, you could have President Yoon, who's working for somebody that's a foreign entity, and he could be the element of institutional capture here, right? Or he could be having a very miscalculated response to what he feels is the byproduct of institutional capture that has been sabotaging his effort to run his government for the past 2 years, right? So we don't know. The situation could be very nuanced, right? How has the opposition in public reacted to the martial law declaration? The opposition Democratic Party quickly asked lawmakers to gather at the General Assembly, with party leader Lee Jae-myung urging them and Korean citizens to safeguard the collapsing democracy. In a live YouTube broadcast, Lee declared that President Yoon betrayed the people and that from this moment he was no longer the president of the Republic of Korea. But at the same time, what if he's been pushed into this situation? I have an article talking about institutional capture in the U.S. government, right? And elements of the U.S. government that are fighting some of the things that we've been seeing over the past 14 years, right? And they've made a lot of progress in the past few months. But for a while, it was looking like they were losing, right? And I kind of made this article around that time. And, when you've got a force, right, that is losing power, in the institutions of government, right? So let's say Yoon isn't experiencing a psychosis, and let's say this is really happening, right? And he's watching this invasive force capture institutions of government and use them to sabotage its operations of function with the idea and the goal of destabilizing South Korea. What if Russia's involved with this and North Korea's involved with this, and they're using subversive means in order to begin destabilizing South Korea, okay? And the goal is eventual reunification with North Korea through a weakened South Korea, okay? Now, under those instances, you can see what President Yoon is doing, and you can see, hey, maybe that opposition party actually was attempting to use cloud and pivot strategy, problem reaction solution to really bring the government to a halt. Maybe their whole strategy here is to push Yoon into making a decision like this so that they can complete their institutional capture. Or Yoon is North Korea's strongman, and this is North Korea's move. You get what I'm saying? Or Russia, or you get, so there could be a whole ton of things playing out right here. Let's just not call somebody a bad guy right up front. You get what I'm saying? Even member of President Yoon's own party, including People Power Party leader Han Dong-hoon, have opposed the declaration, stating this is an unlawful and unconstitutional declaration of martial law. The Republic of Korea is a free democracy and will protect our democracy with the people. So it very well could be Yoon is North Korea's strongman in there, and in his protection against communism, he's trying to then consolidate power under the executive authority. It very well could be that. I'm not saying that I know what's happening all the way on the other side of the world. I'm just saying this is some crazy stuff, man, and this is real interesting. What happens next? The Biden administration remained cautious in commenting on developments in Korea, stipulating that more information will become available and that any political conflicts must be resolved peacefully. North Korean statements have not yet appeared, but Pyongyang almost certain to exploit this turmoil for propaganda purposes against the Yoon government. So there are some serious nuances here relating to Korean sovereignty and how that relates to their cultural zeitgeist, because if Yoon is the bad guy and there is no institutional capture that is sabotaging South Korea's ability to function as a state, then why would North Korea be opposed to Yoon? If Yoon is North Korea's strongman, and this is one of those moves to consolidate power and a threat to democracy, wouldn't it make the most sense that this would be connected to North Korea? Would you have really some random ass dictator that was like, you know what, I'm going to turn South Korea into North Korea, but we're still going to stay South Korea? I don't know, man. So it's a really nuanced situation, and who knows what the reality on the ground is of the situation over there, man. North Korean statements have not appeared yet, but despite lifting the martial law declaration in the early morning of December 4th, Yoon's domestic survivability is uncertain at the moment. While meant as a strong and decisive move by Yoon to preempt political unrest, the rapid mobilization of the legislature to overturn the martial law declaration and a likely outpouring of street protests against a president that is at a 10% approval rating. Whoa, man. Dude. So what is going on in South Korea, dude? Because it seems to me like there are some foreign entities that have a serious vested interest in the destabilization of South Korea. That is what that whole situation is looking like to me. It's looking like you've got CIA or some other intelligence agency from some other country that operates via destabilization, social destabilization, working hard. Because why is Yoon the linchpin protecting Korea from North Korea? Why would North Korea hate Yoon so much, but then at the same time the South Korean people hate Yoon so much? There's something about that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, And then for North Korea to see the weakness in South Korea and for them to be positioned to take it as an opportunity against Yoon, but then at the same time the Korean people hate, something is up there, and it's just making me think, hey, is someone playing games, intelligence agency wise, with their culture in their society right now? Anyway, so most recent updates going on with Korea, man. Most recent updates, because some more stuff has happened, guys. Let's check this out. South Korea's leadership is unclear as Yoon struggles to retain power. South Korea's defense ministry insisted that President Yoon Suk-yeol remained in charge of the country's armed forces on Monday, even as the Justice Ministry enforced a travel ban against him following his attempt to declare martial law last week. The developments deepened what legal scholars described as an extraordinary constitutional crisis. Although Yoon is being investigated for treason, and the head of his own party has said he would no longer be involved in state affairs. Whoa! The conservative lawmakers have continued to resist his impeachment, and it appeared that Yoon continued to hold key levels of power as of late Monday. It's not even late Monday yet. Yo, this is crazy. So he's still got backing in his conservative government. There is some serious turmoil. This is wild. When asked by a reporter how a president under suspicion of rebellion could control the country's armed forces, a spokesperson for South Korea's defense ministry said, legally, the authority remains with the current commander-in-chief. And also, didn't he have the right to declare emergency powers? So, it seems like, was there even a law broken? Because if he had the right to declare emergency powers, and then their version of Congress or Parliament voted against it, and the majority voted against it, and it was actual majority, and they lifted it. Is there even technically a violation of constitutional law as it's written out in their constitution? It seems like there would have to be in order to justify some sort of criminal charges, right? Yoon has also continued to perform other presidential duties, such as accepting the resignation of senior officials and appointing others. The developments raise questions about what, if any, duties he has ceded, as he and his conservative allies have promised. On Sunday, PPP chief Han Dong-hoon said that Prime Minister Han Duck-seo would handle state affairs in consultation with the party, but offered few other details about the apparent power-sharing arrangement. Neither Han holds an elected position. PPP officials did not respond to VOA's request for more details about the alleged deal, which numerous legal scholars have called extra-constitutional and likely illegal. Wow, okay. So So I'm not even sure, based on the wording of some of these articles, whether the Constitution was violated when the emergency declaration of martial law was entered in the first place, and whether it was violated when it was lifted. So, but this, interesting, they're saying that this power sharing system as a response might be a violation of constitutional law. Man, there are some nuances here to this situation that we are not privy to, but it's popping off in South Korea, man. John Hak-seon, a constitutional law professor at Hankook Foreign Language University, said the only established process for removing a president's powers are impeachment or resignation. That would make sense, because impeachment, traditionally, at least as it's written in our Constitution, is the preempt to criminal investigation, right? So you impeach, remove, and then that impeachment triggers a criminal investigation. There is no constitutional provision for an arrangement in which the president voluntarily and informally entrusts his powers to another official, certainly not an unelected one. Such a system does not exist, Jean told VOA. The term entrustment is not even used in Korean law. Wow, so people are all pissed that he's still in power, but yet they haven't gone through the legal processes to remove him from power. So this is crazy, and I guess now they're going to try to use him sharing power because they've demanded that he step down and cede power, and now they're going to try to use that as reason for impeachment. This whole thing is shady. This whole thing is next level. There definitely seems to be a level of foreign state involvement somewhere in the mix in all of this crazy stuff. Yoon, frustrated by what he saw as opposition attempts to obstruct his government, declared martial law late Tuesday, the first such decree in since South Korea became a democracy in the 1980s. Yoon said the move was necessary to crush anti-state forces, but opposition lawmakers overturned the decree within hours. In a speech Saturday, Yoon apologized for causing anxiety and said future governance will be handled jointly by our party and our government. Apologized. And the dude apologized. This is really the most civil attempted coup I have ever seen in my life. I mean, wasn't there something super similar that happened? Man, there was an attempted coup that failed. One of these smaller countries. Whatever. Moving on. 2-minute speech. The 2-minute speech was Yoon's. Bolivia. Yes, it was Bolivia, where the sitting president attempted to fail coup himself to gain support against the dude who was running against him. Okay, anyway, my bad, guys. 2-minute speech was Yoon's only public appearance since lifting the martial decree early Wednesday. South Korean opposition lawmakers failed to impeach Yoon in a vote on Saturday, but vowed to soon hold another vote. So they couldn't even impeach him. The vote failed. So the entire public and the culture and the zeitgeist at the time, at least among the ruling class, is that, something must be going on. Because, dude, for this dude to have this much support, and for it to be this muddied, something must be going on. And for North Korea to look at him and his weakness and say this is something to be taken advantage of, North Korea's position with China, China's position with Russia, what's going on there? We know Russia is heavily involved in social destabilization campaigns, right? But I'm speculating out here just because I enjoy it. Yoon's office did not respond Monday to VOA's request for clarification about what, if any, presidential powers have been ceded to the party or prime minister. Responding to a similar VOA question on Sunday, a presidential spokesperson said, "I ask for your deep understanding that we cannot help but be cautious in sending messages. However, if there's anything to say at the level of the office of the president, we will share it without delay." Early Monday, Yonhap news agency reported that many officials at the president's office seem to be abandoning their messaging apps or social media accounts and creating new ones, possibly in preparation for ongoing investigations by prosecution and the police. Whoa. South Korea's Justice Ministry on Monday announced that it had imposed a travel ban on Yoon, who faces 3 separate government investigations into treason for his activities related to the martial law attempt. While in office, South Korean presidents are immune from prosecution except in cases involving allegations of rebellion or treason. However, it remains unclear whether any law enforcement agency would attempt to question or arrest Yoon, a former chief prosecutor. Yoon's popularity plunged to an all-time low of 17%, according to a poll released Monday by RealMeter, a public opinion research organization. Other recent polls have put that figure much lower. Ahead of Saturday's impeachment vote, and an estimated crowd of 100,000 protesters gathered outside the country's legislature. Despite immense public pressure, lawmakers in Yoon's PPP have refused to support impeachment, saying that such an outcome would create instability. The situation in some ways mirrors 2017 when South Korea's former conservative president, Park Geun-hye, was removed from office on corruption-related charges. Those developments deeply fractured the Conservative Party and made some reluctant to repeat the process. But conservatives are likely to face mounting pressure if street protests and strikes intensify and polling continues to reflect Yoon's low popularity, said Mason Ritchie, professor of international politics at Hankook University of Foreign Studies. Logically, the Han-Yoon government governing arrangement may be unsustainable, as it is apparently extra-constitutional and opens up tensions in handling state affairs, said Ritchie, although much about this saga has been illogical. Yeah, no, it's tripping me out. This whole narrative, like everything going on, whoa, it's tripping me out. Making sense of it, making sense of whose hands are got to be in the mix here in this petri dish is really tripping me out. Anyway, things are destabilizing all over the world, man. We got Lebanon, we got Syria, we got South Korea. Dude, man. And we already know what's going on in Israel and Ukraine, right? So, I mean, things are happening all over the world. It's getting crazy out there, guys. I just thought you might find this interesting, y'all. A little breakdown of kind of like the details of what's going on in the situation, man. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one tomorrow. I'll see you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me.